What's up, guys? Hopefully you're having a good summer. It's August 8th here in Illinois, and we finally got a rain day. It hasn't rained for I don't know how long now, but we finally got a rain overnight, over 2 inches of rain. So our food plots, our crops, all of it needed that rain for sure. Okay, first stop, guys, I want to show you this. You can see behind me, this was all standing corn, real world NutriCrave corn, and the deer absolutely destroyed it. I'm not happy about it, but I'm also not mad about it because with the fall plot, I get a second chance. I'm gonna take these glasses off. I don't really need them, it's kind of cloudy. And one thing I've noticed so many people doing is planting their fall food plots way too early. And I don't know the scientific or anything like that, but I can tell you from experience, I've done it. I've planted them early, late July, early August. And what happens is, yes, you want to base it on when you're getting rain, but if you plant it too early, your fall plot's going to come up and it's going to mature out. You know, if it's got cereal grains in it, it's got whatever's in it. If it gets too mature, the deer are not going to desire that plot as much. So if someone asks me, would I rather have a 2-foot tall lush green food plot, fall plot, or a 6-inch tall that's young and tender, I'm taking that 6-incher all day. You know, and tons of different varieties out there, fall food plots you can plant. I personally like planting the Harvest Salad along with the Deadly Dozen, which is Harvest Salad and Plot Topper combined from Real World. And the goal with this whole plot in the first place was to be able to plant soybeans here. I had this all in clover. It did a great job for 4 years, and I decided I want to put soybeans here. Well, I didn't want to put soybeans into my clover, so I needed to switch it up, so I decided to do the corn, which corn takes a lot of work, no doubt about it, and it sucks that the deer ate it off and destroyed the whole plot. But I'm going to be able to put in that fall plot now. I'm going to come back next year, I will drill soybeans, and I will have a solar fence around this food plot. It's about 2 acres right here, and you see behind me here, that's all the 3-year-old Real World switchgrass. It's probably about 7-8 foot tall, something like that. And again, everybody always is planting, at least in the Midwest, depending on where you're at in the states, it'll vary on when your plant dates are, but here in the Midwest, the end of August, beginning of September is the best time to plant a fall plot. And I don't care if anyone disagrees with me. You're not going to change my mind. I've seen it firsthand. I've monitored it. I've planted all the way from middle of July all the way up to the first week of September, and there's no question the deer desire it more when it's young and tender. So planting late August, beginning of September, somewhere in that time frame is the best time to get your fall plots in. Got a couple chairs, and we're gonna go put them up here in the 360 blind. This is the 360 shooting house. It's got the horizontal windows in the front and the side, and it's got the vertical right there in the corners. And there's the base. Well, we're in the 360 shooting house. Hopefully it's not too echoey. But you can see out there, that's all gonna be fall food plot. That's all switchgrass. This is just a waterway right here. And then that's actually a clover plot that butts up to the switchgrass there. And the reason I like the shooting house the best for what we do, a prime example is if you watch my last year's hunt with Ricky, all the vertical windows, if on those blinds, it's so hard to get your camera out one window and try to shoot out the other window, and it just becomes cumbersome, and it truly affects your shot like it did me last year. I had to rush trying to shoot him before he got to the next window and then you got to pick which window you're going to shoot and then switch back and forth, and the shooting house eliminates that problem, at least for me. I've got this big horizontal window out front which can cover almost 180 degrees with my camera, or not quite shooting but with the camera primarily, and I can shoot out these vertical windows on the corners, or vice versa. I can film out of the corner windows and shoot out the main horizontal window. And inside the shooting house, we've got a nice shelf there. And I put some screws like this every once in a while underneath the shelf so it's not sticking out. But if I want to hang something there, I can. I've got it on this side here too, whether it's rangefinder, binos, pack. And then you can see up here, it's got vents right above the door, and it's got vents here in the back corners as well. And it comes with these plugs here that you could put in the vents if you want to close them off. I like to leave them open for now. When I hunt, I might go ahead and shut them off. But you can see here, another horizontal window on the side, vertical window here, horizontal here, vertical, another horizontal, that window's not open, and there's the door there. So yeah, just getting the chairs put in here now, and they're fairly cheap with these fold-up chairs, and they've got these trays. Primarily 95% of the time I'm hunting by myself, so this second chair is not even going to be used. But when I am hunting by myself, I like these collapsible chairs. So if I need to stand up and get in position, I can easily hang my bow or set my bow down and just fold up these chairs nice and quiet, set them off to the side so I have full movement inside of the blind. Because I'm dealing with a tripod, camera, bow, arrow, all that. I'm dealing with all of that at once. So I don't want anything in my way. I don't want to make any noise. And the other great part about these, they have this little tray on them. You can just fold those trays out. If you got a drink you want to put on it, whatever it may be, you could set down on there. It's just nice and handy, and they're comfortable. So that's what I do primarily for most of my chairs and my blinds, and works pretty well. So yeah, we're gonna head on to the next blind, next plot. I'll show you guys that plot. All right guys, we're here at the second plot now, and this is a real world enlist soybean plot. And this year I did the enlist soybeans because I can spray 2,4-D and Roundup. In the past couple years that I've tried doing soybeans here, the water hemp has gotten so bad that I could not get it killed off, and did not have a good stand of beans, and really wanted this to be a good spot. So I went with the enlist soybeans this year. The beans are looking great. As you can see, I don't see a weed in them. I've only sprayed them twice total. I did the residual, then came back, sprayed with 2,4-D and Roundup, and they look phenomenal. They're fairly short right now, but I'm also at least 3 weeks behind the other farmers that have been planting, that planted their crops. And honestly, we just haven't got the rain. We haven't had a lot of rain, so haven't had a lot of growth, but they're about knee high right now, and I suspect with that rain that we just got last night, these things are gonna really shoot up here pretty quick. This spot has always been typically a really good spot. Actually, this little fence row that I'm showing you right here, it's only about probably 60 yards wide. And if you remember 2000, I think it's 13 or 14, I shot the buck OMAG in this fence row. And what it is basically is, to the north end of this fence row, it shoots back and has another section that goes east and west. And it's probably 120 yards wide that way, north and south. And they love the bed in there. I did some TSI work in there a couple years ago, and they just love bedding in there because it's all open ag fields all around everywhere else. And this allows me really good access to walk here on this grass lane. I pop in here to the blind or tree stand inside the fence row here, and the deer are bedded to the north of me, so primarily on northerly winds it's great, or a southwest wind, and I'll sit on the other side of this fence row. But been a really good spot. We've killed a lot of deer out of this little fence row here, so that's why we put a 360 blind up here overlooking this plot. It's all CRP that butts up to this, and the deer just absolutely bombard it. So real excited to see what bucks show up here this year. I'll be straight with you guys, I don't hunt out of blinds all the time. I primarily hunt from a tree stand, and man, we see so many deer come out into this plot. You know, it's tons of CRP around here, lots and lots of acreage of CRP, and they can be laying anywhere, and they come into these soybean plots or laying in this little fence row, especially during the rut. You know, a buck will take a doe in there, lock down with her, and they'll just keep coming back and forth, and the big mature buck in there will run off everything else. That's exactly how I killed OMAG. So just a really cool spot that we designed. You know, when this CRP contract came out, when we had to go to re-sign it, we were able to decide what we wanted to put back into it or leave out of it. And so what we did is we left 4 acres right here against this woods of the CRP. We left that out so we could do food plots. And it's not just for deer, it's for pheasant, quail. My grandpa loves hunting pheasant and quail. We've got quite a good standing population of pheasant and quail here. And you'd be shocked how many quail and pheasant come into these soybean plots and absolutely hammer them, especially if there's snow on the ground or there's no other food source they can get. They're in here like crazy. So it's not providing for just the deer, it's for all of them, especially the birds as well.
The all-new Revix from Prime Archery. Stability built in.
So we're getting ready to put out trail cameras. I've got the R4G here and I've got the R4G Lite here. Just a quick little difference, the R4G Lite, actually the antenna folds into the camera itself. Pretty cool. And the R4G Lite does not have an LCD screen on the inside. And the R4G does have an LCD screen. And I've had best luck with the Amazon Basic batteries, honestly. I've tried 4 different brands and the Basics actually outlasted them all for the amount of pictures and videos that I've gotten. The R4G itself does video along with photos. However, the R4G Lite only does photos. It has 2 different lenses on both cameras. Both of these lenses, one is for night and one is for day. So there's no transition period between the cameras. And there is no glow whatsoever on these trail cameras. And the other really cool part is it has one SIM technology, which means that no matter the cell provider that you get the best signal in your area, whether it's AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Cell One, whatever it is, that one SIM technology will pick up that closest tower and give you the best signal. And the data plans alone on the Blackgate trail cameras is definitely worth it. These things are literally costing me half of what it cost me last year to run the same amount of trail cameras. So really excited about that. The quality, the thumbnail images alone that you get are phenomenal. I'll be honest, I haven't had to request hardly any HD photos because the quality is so good on just a thumbnail alone that I can tell what it is. But the video on the R4G, which is what I'm putting out here right now, it comes in on your app as a GIF. So it's gonna look jittery, but you play it, and if you want that video, all you gotta do is hit the HD button. And the reason why they did this is so it saves you the data. You know, when you get a video, it eats up your data in a hurry, whereas a GIF is not gonna do that. But if you want the actual video, you just click the HD button, you got it, no time at all, it's awesome. So we're gonna go set out the R4G right now, right where these beans meet up to the clover. This is where I had it last year, got a lot of great pictures, and hopefully a big buck will be on there here very shortly. All right guys, getting ready to set out a trail camera here, the R4G, over this beautiful Gen 2 real-world soybeans and a freshly installed shooting house by 360 hunting blinds. This is the exact plot that I shot the buck Ricky last year when it was negative 40 degrees. I actually shot him twice, October 18th and December 23rd. I finally ended it. But as you can see behind me here, I've got this clover buffer that leads into these soybeans. And this is just a little cove. It's only about 25 to 30 yards wide by maybe 40, 50 yards long. And that's exactly what I shot him in, is in this clover leading out to the soybeans. And what I've noticed is these deer love to go from the greens to the beans. No matter the time of year, they're always hitting this clover first and then heading into the beans. I've actually had deer walk through the beans to hit the clover first, then back into the beans. So it's just something that I've picked up over the years that has done a really good job of getting those deer within bow range before they ever make it out to the destination plots. And that's exactly why I did that here, and it works perfectly to a T as it continues to work. I hope it continues to work. So basically, if you've got a big plot area that you can do when it comes to designing your plots, if you have a little section on the inside corner here of a timber or whatever that you can notch out and put a little, I call it a kill plot, before the destination plot, is absolutely instrumental. We've shot a lot of mature bucks in kill plots leading out to the destination plots. Now everybody says, oh, planting food plots, it's so easy and blah blah blah. Go try planting soybeans and fighting Mother Nature, and then frost seeding clover and chicory, keeping it nice and lush, keeping the weeds out of your beans. And that's as much, I enjoy doing that as much as I do the hunting itself, because not only am I providing for all the wildlife in the area, but it's just fun to watch, see the animals truly appreciate the hard work that you've done. And yeah, it does make it easier to get them here instead of hunting them inside of the timber. But on this farm in particular, especially, this is a satellite farm. There's a total of 8 acres of timber on this farm. Total of 8 acres. The rest is all ag, and there's nothing else to hold them here. There's no bedding. There's one little water hole over here. That was a natural water hole. I did not make it. But other than that, that's it. This is a satellite farm, and I've got nothing else to bring them here. So what am I going to do? Exactly what I did here. This was an old CRP grown up in trees, whole bunch of brush, crap, and came in here and turned it into this. And it paid off last year. Huge dividends shooting that buck Ricky. This plot just so happens to lay out perfectly, and when I designed all this, it's worked great. I've got giant miscanthus, a fresh new planting. You can't hardly see it yet. It's only about 3 or 4 foot tall. That goes right along this edge, and then I've got existing miscanthus up there that completely secludes this field from any road. This little 2.5 acre plot here. So just some tips there for you. Take them for what it's worth. It's worked great for me, and really enjoy hunting here. Lots, and I mean lots of deer here. Big deer density. Well, that is a wrap on today's episode. Doing some video work here. Got a trail camera set up over there. Ran around to all the different shooting blinds, the 360 shooting houses that I put up last week, and kind of showed you guys some tips and tricks on food plots and what I've got planted and what's working, what's not. And hopefully you guys got something out of this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please let me know in the comments if you want more videos like this to keep up with us throughout the actual off season, I guess you would say, leading up to deer season, because we're constantly grinding, trying to find the next target buck, getting things prepared and ready for the fall and for the late season. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And just so you guys know, if you're curious on what kind of camera I shot this on, this is the new DJI Action 4 Osmo camera, which I plan on doing a full video on all of our camera setups, the different cameras we use for hunting. And one thing I'll tell you right now is we used to use GoPros all the time for that other POV angle. Those things are junk. I'm going to say it right now. GoPros are junk. The batteries die, especially when it gets cold out. They are trash. Tons and tons and tons of problems with GoPros. These DJI action cams, they have been flawless, and they're not a partner of ours, nothing like that. We buy these full retail price. They are the best camera for the POV camera, doing stuff like I'm doing now. Even in the cold weather, their batteries last way longer, no issues. Turn them on, they start recording. So loving these DJI Action Osmo cameras. And like I said, they just released this 4, just got it literally today, and it's done a great job so far. So just another little tip for you guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your summer, and fall's going to be here before we know it. We'll see you again here next time. When it comes to spring or fall food plots, your bedding grasses, your mineral, your access and exit screen, in your upland game mixes, Real World Wildlife Products has you covered. It's not about a fancy bag. It's about actual seed and proven results.